Hey, it's Stuff from NV Auto, and this is my 2021 Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. Welcome to my 2021 Tesla Model 3. And I'm sure people that know me that are watching this video are like, what do you mean you bought a Tesla Model 3? Are you out of your mind? You're a race car guy. You drive race cars, you build race cars, you work at a racetrack. Why would you even consider driving this industry destroying electric vehicle? I bought a Tesla not because I wanted a Tesla, but because I wanted an electric vehicle. And then after doing research, found out that Teslas are the only electric vehicles you can drive every day without fearing for your life that you're gonna run out of electricity somewhere. So that's why I have this. I wanna be clear right off the hop and say that these cars can never replace the feel of a internal combustion engine. The car 100% has no soul. It's a refrigerator on wheels that happens to get incredibly good economy. And for the amount of driving that I do, that is absolutely perfect. First, the car costs 52,000 Canadian dollars. The Canadian government kicks you back a bunch of that. Well, not a bunch, a little piece of that because you're doing things good for the environment. It's roughly, if you look at it with the incentives you get kicked back, it's about the same price as a fully loaded Camry. And if you're buying one of these cars, you have to look at it as you are buying a Camry. You know, this is not a performance car. This is a Model 3 Standard Range Plus. So rear wheel drive, roughly 400K to charge. And it doesn't have full autopilot, which doesn't work anyways because I had it for free for a little while. And it doesn't have, there's some speakers that are missing in here, and rear heated seats, which you can pay to turn on, funny enough. So it's kind of like the cheapest of the cheap, but it comes with a bunch of good features. It does have heated seats, auto headlights, auto wipers, you know, all that typical kind of stuff. But I stress this is a utilitarian, like this is just for commuting. This doesn't replace my Corvette in any way or my race car or anything like that. I could never see myself racing a car like this on the racetrack, but for me to get to work and get to the, you know, wherever I need to go for as little amount of money as possible, this is the vehicle. All right, so things that drive me absolutely crazy about this car, Mr. Elon Musk. The panel fitment is abysmal, like horrendous, terrible. Has been back to the service center twice just to get windows to fit and close properly and door seals to stop leaking and hurricane type wind noises to be addressed. So yeah, the panel fitment is terrible, and I think that's really well known throughout the Tesla world. Is you type in, I want to buy a new Tesla, what should I look out for? And the number one thing is going to be like, the panels don't fit. Okay, so that got taken care of, fine. It's almost good enough right now. I mean, I'm just being, we'll say BMW picky, but in terms of North American manufactured car, it's pretty good now. Another problem I was having is the door seal in the driver's rear door would hold water. So if it rained or you went through a car wash, if you opened that rear door after one of those events, like I'd say like a liter or two of water would like splash out onto your feet, which was kind of annoying at first, but then it became entertaining. But Tesla promptly fixed that with a upgraded seal or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but it got fixed. And now the biggest problem I had, and it trumps all those other things because those are little fixes, seals and adjustments. The paint literally started falling off the rocker panels on this car. So they had to take the car and repaint the rockers front to rear. And of course, it didn't quite match right. So then they had to blend it. And this brand new car has had a bunch of body work to it, which I'm not super impressed about. And now I'm super worried that's going to happen again. So then I went and I had the rocker panels all covered with paint protection film, so I don't paint chip it all to hell again. It's painted, it's protected, we're happy. I walk up to the car the other day and notice there's a giant bend in the trunk. And the trunk in this thing is, you open with the app or it's push button, not manually do it. But it almost interferes with the body of the car when it opens. And one time when it opened, it must have interfered with the body. So now I have a bent trunk lid and I'm in the middle of fighting with Tesla over who's going to pay to fix that. So those are my quality control gripes. And I don't think it matters. Like when I complain saying, oh, Elon, you should take care of this. I don't think it matters to typical Tesla buyers because they all live in this like club where like Elon can do nothing wrong. Like if you don't like the panel gaps, then go buy a Mercedes. If you don't like the wind noise, then go buy a car that has framed windows. You know what I mean? The excuse at the dealership and online is, oh, it's frameless windows. They're always noisy. Well, Subaru's been doing frameless windows forever and they're not nearly this noisy. So that's the other thing you have to know. Don't get on the wrong side of some internet warrior with one of these cars. It's a real problem because they think if they say nice things about Tesla, Tesla's going to give them like a free car or something like that. Number one, buddy, it ain't going to happen. They're not going to give you a free car because you're standing up for their half-assedness. And number two, it's like, yes, they're a new car manufacturer, but this is North American made. This car was built in California. There are many skilled people that could have looked at the car and said, wow, that door sits under the front fender. We shouldn't send the car out the door. So that's one. Those are my rants about the car. The good things. I don't use a supercharging network. I've had to use it a couple times. I don't use it. I think I've used it 4 or 5 times. And my car has 1 free year of supercharging, but I haven't really used it. And it's only raised my hydro bill at home between $35 and $45 a month. And to put that in perspective, I was spending about $600 in gasoline a month. So the savings there is astronomical. Basically, what this payment is costing me to have this brand new car is what I was paying in fuel before in a car. So it's worked out really well that way. The other positive to these things is if you have to pass somebody, you don't need to be like, oh, is there enough room? Do I have to wait for the turbo? Do I have to wait for the transmission to downshift? Do I have to? It's just like, I'm passing somebody. You floor it, the thing takes right off. You pass them. It's the best thing ever. It keekeeps all those roadside warriors like out of your hair because they don't even know you've passed. There's no, you're passing somebody and then they try and floor it. It doesn't happen anymore. So it's one of my favorite features. Okay, so some of the cool features this car has of standard. This car has autopilot, which allows me to just double click the lever here and the car will drive down the road and follow speed limit signs. It follows the road lines. You only need to intermittently need to touch the steering wheel. The car will pretty much pilot itself down the road. They do have something called full self-driving, which I didn't pay for. It's a $10,000 option, which you can enter your navigation destination and the car will literally drive there for you without you having to think about turning the wheel or doing anything, stopping for stop signs. I had it as a free trial when I bought the car. There was a promo on. I had it as a free trial for 3 months. And cue the Tesla haters. It doesn't work. Okay? It does not work. This full self-driving is BS. It does not work. I don't care what you say. If you're traveling anything but a major highway, it doesn't work. It does weird braking things, like you'll think it sees a pylon or something and it'll smash the brakes. It's just way too sensitive. I understand it's beta software. It's still not 100% ready yet, but I can't have Tesla expect me to spend $10,000 on a feature that doesn't work. So maybe that falls into the gripe section too. That is another thing, is like, you cannot charge somebody $10,000 for a feature that works 60% of the time. If you're spending that kind of money, the car has to be able, literally, you call it full self-driving, it has to full self-drive itself, which it doesn't. Other things I like about the interiors is like super minimalistic. There is nothing to anything. You have your turn signals stock, your gear selector stock, these 2 scroll wheels on either side of the steering wheel. That is all the controls. Everything else is all done through the screen, even your mirror adjustment, steering wheel adjustment. Like, silly other thing is, like, if I need to move the steering wheel, you have to select this, and then you use these scroll wheels and joysticks to do everything. It's really nice not to have like a million buttons and knobs and dials and all those kinds of things, because it keeps it simple. Although my father can't figure out how to use any of this stuff. Like, I can't lend this car to my dad because he doesn't do the touchscreen thing. So I think they're missing that market a little bit, but I don't think it's super on their high priority list. The things I really, really like about this car is, like I said, you can accelerate and pass somebody without thinking about it, which is really nice. And nobody assumes it in your little eco-mobile as you're cruising along to pass somebody. And the fuel economy I really like. But I have to say, if all these things I really like, this is like driving a refrigerator down the road. There's no feel. The steering feel is like, it's all right, but it's like, this car has no heart. And I don't know how to explain that. Like, if you had 3 Subarus side by side, all similar, and you drove them all, each car would have a little different feel, a little bit slightly different. These don't have that. The electric motor there's no heart to this car. And I think that's the hardest part for an internal combustion person to understand, is that, like, this car is just, you can't buy this car expecting to fall in love with it. I mean, you may fall in love with the features, and if you're just a terrible, lazy driver, you can put the autopilot on and it will get you where you need to go. But it's like not going to be like that Corvette, for example, sitting over there. Not that that's any amazing car. It's just like a base model Stingray, but that car has a heart. This is a refrigerator on wheels that accelerates really quickly to 140 and then runs out of steam real quick. Look at that. See? That's heart. Look at that Chevrolet pickup truck. Somebody's taking that for a restoration for sure. One other thing I like about it that is weird is the pedal. You literally drive with just the gas pedal. Unless you have to do something like really abrupt on the brakes. When you drive, you let off the throttle. I'm not touching the brakes right now, and we're dropping like speed at, like, it's pretty impressive. You know, like, I'm still not touching anything, and the car will just come to a halt and hold itself, which is also really good.
Good maneuver. That's no brakes.
No, I'm on the brakes
okay.
now.
I was like, wait.
That's no brakes though. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, the
the whoop sound. I
satisfying.
think that we screwed up this camera.
Did we?
I don't know. Was it on that angle?
No, it definitely wasn't.
Oh, and it does all kinds of things. There we go. Things. People always want to hear this. The car rips farts. Okay? It does it on the outside too. That is playing outside. So if somebody's out there, you put this fart on demand thing, man, We should have put a camera on the outside and gone to a mall and just trolled people.
Ludicrous fart.
Yeah, I prefer the ludicrous fart. So it has like the silly things where you can make the fart noises and you can change the horn sounds and all kinds of different stuff. It's all novelty stuff that I think, like, when you're buying the car, you're like, ah, cool, look, you can do this stuff. But honestly, the only time we do the fart noises is when my son's in the car and he's like, make the Tesla fart. That's has no real use otherwise. There's some good games, some good video games you can play. What I'm worried about is when everybody has these cars. That's what I'm actually worried about. Like when everybody has these cars that are super punchy and can take off real quick, like what's gonna happen then? The roads are gonna be out of control. We're gonna get out and have a look at all the cool damage that's been done to this car by itself. All right, so I mentioned while we were driving that there's some weird damage done to the trunk. Let me show you how bad it is. So when I got this car, this gap here was like massive. It was huge. So Tesla had to kind of like move everything down to tighten this line up here, have everything line up in the back. But just recently, I noticed that the trunk has been catching on the roof line here and has actually bent the trunk lid down. It is, it looks terrible. I'm super upset about it. I haven't had a chance to deal with it yet, but hopefully Tesla will take care of me on this mess. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys getting my take on what a electric car is like for a internal combustion engine enthusiast such as myself. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And please share this to all the Tesla people out there that think these are the most wonderful cars on earth. I want them to know that they are not perfect.